So, Mike, the memorial is magnificent. I mean,
Thanks.
it's a true tribute. It's a wonderful tribute to all those who've lost their lives from Wolfe Island in all the conflicts. What was the inspiration behind it?
Well, the catalyst for this whole thing really is a 1947 resolution from the Wolfe Island Township. They agreed to accept federal money, although they never did take it, to build a cenotaph for their war dead at the steps of their, what they thought they would build, a community hall. So the monument was going to be done after the hall was built, but the hall was never built, so the monument was never built. I moved here 21 years ago, and on this site, where this is now, this has always been where the Remembrance Day ceremony has taken place. And, you know, Wolfe Island is a rock. You might notice that the entire village slopes towards the water. It's because a foot under here is nothing but limestone. So this angle is always going to stay here. We always had wreaths that would like blow over or fall over, unsteady ground for your feet. But nevertheless, it's an amazing Remembrance Day ceremony that this little community has always put on. I think I've only missed one, and that's because I was in hospital. But we even have a flyover, and how they managed to do that in all kinds of weather and right on time amazes me. The fire department blockades this area off with their equipment to block the winds, because November 11th, you never know what the weather is going to be like. So in, I would guess, 2020, Kimberly Thomas, who's lived here 10 or 11 years now, was president of the Historical Society, as I had been for 14 years. And she said that she would like to endeavor to investigate what it would take to build a cenotaph. And at the time there was all the dock work and the Bryceland House, and you know, where would the appropriate place be? So we kind of, she said, let me see if this thing will have any legs before I bring the other members into it. And she worked on it on and off for years and years. And I guess around 3 years ago now, she found out that we could get up to $25,000 from the federal government to build a memorial, provided we could raise matching funds and also goods in kind. So when that started, she then asked me to get involved, and I agreed. She got a quasi-committee together with someone that headed up the national monument that's in Kingston. So he gave us a lot of information that I would not have been aware of about the scope of this, because when we have our Remembrance Day ceremony, we used to mention like every single person that served, relatives that served, and we were always told that there were 11 war dead, World War I to World War II. And if you look at the plaque, you'll notice there's only 10 names on it. That's because during this whole process, we had to make sure if we were going to carve this in stone or put it on bronze, we had to make sure the accuracy of the information. And that was something that the National War Memorial people told us, that if we were going to do like other wars and, you know, peacekeeping operations and that, like this could be a multi-decade process, which we didn't want to get involved with. So we limited it to World War I and World War II. We had a couple of military people that were on our committee at the very beginning. They left for other reasons. And they determined that there were actually 10 war dead from Wolfe and Simcoe Island. The 11th person was apparently related to the woman who was charged with putting the list together many, many, many years ago, and it just kept getting repeated. So we now have truly residents that served and passed away. we wanted to make a statement with this, and because this is on an uneven surface, putting the base in was also a consideration. And the chief building officer, goods in kind, the township allowed him to design the base. And then it was sourcing the materials. We wanted something that would last. The locals wanted local materials and local labor whenever possible. Limestone is what this island is made of. There are some granite erratics that come from far north. It's not the same granite that is under the limestone. It's a Precambrian granite that has more silica in it. Well, the granite rises out of the St. Lawrence River just north of here, up 15, up north of Sealy's Bay. And I happen to know the people that own that quarry and some very fancy, expensive equipment, and they were able to cut a stone that size, which is Precambrian granite. If you take a look at the backside, you'll see the erosion. The Precambrian granite, it erodes totally different than Canadian Shield. And it's got a lot more character, it's got a lot more color. That maxed out their saw. They apparently had only an inch to spare. That thing weighs 25,000 pounds. And where I had them cut it, we left 2/3 of the rock. So there's still a big chunk of that rock up at Sealy's Bay. The pavers are also the same granite. And so we picked these things out. The minor stone, which has the map or the silhouette of the island in 22 karat gold. It closely approximates this. I didn't want it to stand out as much as the primary stone, and you'll notice there's a lot of space on it. Designer would call it negative space. In the future, we don't know what future generations are going to want. They might want to put other plaques on that, and it'll be up to them if they think it's appropriate or not. All of the fonts are hand done, so these are not computer fonts. It's unique to this. I designed the maple leaf border, and I originally thought I might use poppies, but I had no idea that the Legion is, I think their primary source of income is the poppies, and they seem to care more about their income from the poppies than they do about our war dead or our veterans. And it might be controversial, but I was so ticked off when I had a banner, I made the banner, that had some poppies in it that I had drawn. They took exception to that, and I drove up to their head office without announcing myself, and they reluctantly accepted the banner because it would serve no purpose for us since they were going to kick up a stink about it. So I thought, well, I'm never going to wear a poppy at Remembrance Day ever again. I think this is enough. I think everybody that was involved in this project feels the same way. Kimberly Thomas was the driver behind this, getting the grant money, filling that application out and working with them all that time was amazing. Our heart's in the right place. It's done for all the right reasons. And this granite is the same granite that is 300 to 400 feet below our feet. We just didn't have the money to get it from the island. That's why we went north of Sealy's Bay. I'll just stand up. So Wolfe Island, and this 22 karat gold. We've got the French version of Grand Isle and the Mohawk version. War Memorial I've done in black so that it doesn't stand out as much. And then we have an etched plaque that describes basically what I have said. It even mentions Kimberly. It mentions other people that assisted. The lighting was an idea that we wanted, but because we were working on a restricted budget, I had asked Sean Whitmarsh what it might cost to run electrical, and he gave me a ballpark price, and then he goes, oh, you know what, I'm just going to donate it, I'll do it. And it's like, wow, that's amazing. When it came to having a kind of impromptu meeting. It took place at the local restaurant, The Whip, and we had always talked about putting the gold on it, but our budget was getting thinner and thinner. And a couple at the table beside me said that they would be pleased to donate the money for the gold leaf. How much would it be? And they wrote a check. As it turns out, they are Americans. They don't live on the island. They don't have a place on the island. So I thought that was pretty darn nice, because it was totally unexpected. It was totally unsolicited. And again, it's kind of the spirit of what this monument has done. I'm a stone carver by trade, but it's slate. This is sandblasted. So you can call that sand carving, but I love the colors in this big rock. And we didn't know that there was this beautiful pink granite cross in it. You don't know things like that until you cut it open. And we'll say it was lucky, but maybe there was some divine intervention, since, you know, my company's name is Signs from Above, and I happen to do a lot of stuff like this. So I think it's definitely iconic. And I think that this natural stage that we've made with the step there will serve the community well. We have one little thing that isn't on here yet, which are the wreath holders. It's being fabricated out of stainless steel in town, and they're designed to snap on and off the face of this thing, so they won't be in anyone's way. And this is just the perfect height for sitting and waiting. All we need is a nice oak tree, because working so many hot days on this thing, shade is not something you get here.
Okay. Mike, that's great. I mean, you've covered pretty much everything anybody could ask. You mentioned that the Remembrance Service has always been held on this site.
Yep.
What is this site?
This is the town hall. So it's just kind of where people gather. There's a hall behind here. And a big part of Remembrance Day in a little community is the social aspect. So we gather here, and at the end of it, we meet and have egg salad sandwiches. And the military that are here as well, because of CFB Kingston, and the school, they come over. It's just a really good community event, and it's just always been the traditional place. Council, because we had many options of where we could put this, but council kind of decided that this is where it's been traditionally held, so this is where it should be built. It's centrally located. Everybody knows where it is. And there's been magical Remembrance Day ceremonies here where there's all this noise from the dock construction and construction trucks during the wind farm, where trucks are constantly moving. And as soon as the ceremony started, everything stopped. Nobody said, oh, could you please do this or that? It's like, and then you would see the workers just walking up in their, you know, fluorescent vests and everything else. It's very somber, very respectful. And that's what we wanted this to be. And I think it's been achieved. We had our first Remembrance Day just with the platform. The rocks weren't in place last year. So I got to see how it was used. So I know that on Sean's light here, I'm going to ask him to install an outlet so we can have the amplified sound here. And we put a step on the other side, because I noticed people were walking up, and with that big rock there, there's more of a step. So a little granite step cut for that. That little step was $800. So anyone that doesn't think that all the money was spent on this, they should find out what it would cost to replace it, because if you were going to do this, you're looking at about $100,000.
So we won't go into the costs in detail, but I know that you did not charge anything for your labor.
No.
Do you have a rough idea how many hours or days you might?
Oh, it's at least a couple hundred hours, because this is the finished item. there were other options that we went through. Like at one point, I think there were 4 separate rocks because we were going to do a rock for each war, and then our peacekeeping. And again, because of the experiences from the Kingston War Memorial, we learned what maybe to avoid so that we could actually achieve this in our lifetime. So yeah, Kimberley was, if it hadn't been for Kimberley, this wouldn't have happened. So we did get some large single donors, a couple which wished to remain anonymous. One of the items that I was adamant about, and it's not because I have a fetish for flags, although I do like them, there was a flagpole. It was old. I think it was repurposed from something else. It was steel. It was bent 3 feet at the top. So from my wholesaler, we bought this beautiful aluminum commercial pole with an interior lanyard and flags. And there was one gentleman that has a summer place here where he was adamant that if I wanted the flagpole, he was going to make it happen. And he wrote a check for that. And it even covered the, I couldn't believe it, but $1,600. It's made in Ontario, but it costs $1,600 because it is one piece. It doesn't fit in a regular cargo truck. So getting it here was an adventure in itself, but all this will last forever. And the flagpole was up for the Remembrance Day ceremony last year, but the 11th there was freezing rain. And the flag froze to the aluminum. You can't really have a Remembrance Day ceremony with a frozen flag. So the beauty of this is that I paid the extra to get a tilting flag. And the volunteer firefighters instantly recognized the issue. How do we loosen these bolts? They did it. The flag was down. It was loosened off. It was put back up in less than 4 minutes. It was amazing. So,
brilliant. Is there anything else that you think it would be worth drawing the attention of Wolfe Islanders to before we finish?
Oh, yeah. Something that we had planned, and we have a fair bit of information, is that we want this to be a living memorial as well. And when I say living, I mean it's not just rocks and names. So what we have is a QR code that I put on a just a sign, an aluminum sign that was going to be stuck in the lower left corner of the principal rock. Should we? Should I go? No. Well, I haven't quite finished. Okay. Anyways, the QR code in the lower left-hand corner, people, young people, because they know how it works, hold that up. And what we'd like to do, we have to talk to the township about this, is we'd like it to link to a page on the township website, because it'll always have a website. And on that page, or a couple pages, will be a description of this monument. And then the names and the pictures, the military service records, any kind of information we can get. So if you're related to any of these people on this plaque, and you can supply that information, we would like to include that digitally, and we can update it at any time. So, 30 years from now, if there's something else, it'll go on there, and then people can see the monument and the people that we lost on the internet at their leisure. That's the plan, at least.